Hello, everybody. We're live for Cocktails and Coaching. I'm sorry, the wind has my hair crazy here. And Lauren, my co host, is getting ready to come in. So we always have these few minutes. Here she comes. Yes. So hopefully, Lauren, you should be getting the, connect. There we go.
Hello!
Yay! We
Yay!
did it. I don't know
I know.
it wouldn't let me connect to your coaching page. Once in a while, I've had a couple co-hosts, join through their business page, and it's worked, but I couldn't get yours to come up tonight. I don't know what the deal was, but anyway, we had to do you personally through your Facebook feed. Hey,
Perfect for.
there's Jenna. We got Jenna on live, Jenna
Hey,
Allen.
Jenna.
Yeah,
How's it going? I
yeah.
have a really weird feedback. So, hold on. Hold on. So, it's like playing through my earphones and I can't hear.
Because you're
Hold
getting
on.
an echo.
Yeah, so it's like play. Oh, wait, that's not happening anymore.
Okay, okay. I'm not sure what
Oh
that's.
wait, now it is though. So it's like I'll talk and then it will like play back exactly.
I wonder if do you have Facebook open anywhere else on a computer or something? I can't hear it.
So I don't have anything else open. I wonder if I can come off and come back on and that would help.
Or just unplug your earplugs and plug them back in.
Can you hear me now?
Lots of
Lots of
background
background
noise.
noise.
And then
And
now
then
I'm
now
fading
I'm
back.
fading back.
Yeah, and this is opposite for me. So when I take it off, I can't hear it. So weird. Okay. Let's try it again. Let's try it. Maybe it's going to take like time.
Sorry, Jenna. Thanks for being patient.
Okay, let's see if this works. So far, so good.
Okay. Are you
Hold
getting
on. Nope, no feedback right now.
okay?
I think we have it.
It's so weird. That happened last week, and she unplugged and plugged back in, and it was okay.
Oh, wait, now she's saying you are skipping. Am I still skipping, Jenna?
Oh, you sound good to me. You're coming through clear to
Perfect.
me.
By the way, can I show you my fun cocktail
Yes,
glass for
yes. What do you
today?
have? I love it.
Look at this scary, it's like a scary hand.
You have like the Halloween cocktail glass. I'm actually drinking boring tea because after we're done with cocktails and coaching, I'm teaching in somebody's master class. So I thought I should probably not have a cocktail first.
And actually, I have to be honest, this is a mocktail. I'm drinking my favorite thing ever, which is this new LaCroix, the hibiscus LaCroix.
Oh,
I'm
I haven't
pretty
tried that.
obsessed. I don't know
Oh,
if anybody else on this live stream or is watching the replay loves LaCroix. Let's give some love. Put up those hearts.
yes, yes. I love
I'm
LaCroix, but I haven't
obsessed.
seen the hibiscus. Oh, that's cool. That's
It's
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I
Awesome.
hope that we're like good and that there's no feedback. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can see the comments, but at some point,
Yes, I can. So let us know if anybody, is getting any feedback, although it sounds clear to me.
yeah.
So I think, okay, Jenna says we're good. Yay, Jenna.
Yay!
So Jenna, tell
Awesome.
us where you're from and if you have a cocktail or a mocktail or anything else. Some tea, kombucha, whatever. We take it all here on Cocktails and Coaching.
Mm-hmm. I
My
love
friend
it.
told my friend told me we should just call it drinking and talking, which that nothing wrong with that either.
I mean, that's basically what it is. It just
Yes,
cocktails and coaching sounds like more sophisticated.
right. It had such a good ring to it. But
Exactly.
yeah, awesome. And here's Joyce. So we have Joyce on live. She's in Pennsylvania. I know. Jenna, where do you live? I'm
I know
headed
Jenna's
back
up.
to Pennsylvania. I'm going to go back for a long visit. So I'm headed back next week. Well, I won't actually get there till the first week of November. and be staying for a while. So Joyce, maybe we can see
Yes,
each other.
Jenna Sirach. Of course you do, girl. I love it.
Ah, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
usually I'm a vodka girl or wine. I like wine, but
that's it. Like, look, I feel like that LaCroix and vodka is like the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, I'm just putting it out there.
the best thing, the best
One of
thing.
them, besides coaching, right?
Yes, I know. Honestly, I think coaching is the best. Like I've had so many, it's just been a really powerful week for me because I've had several clients with huge breakthroughs. And like every session doesn't have a huge breakthrough. That's too much pressure for everybody, right? But I love it when that happens. And
Mhm.
it's been a super powerful week for me and my clients that way. So that's always makes it extra fun. And
Absolutely.
myself. I mean, it's been a huge breakthrough for me, the whole, you know, decision to go back to Pennsylvania for a while and visit. I hadn't really planned, but it's like, why live a location free life, right? Like I'm not tied to living somewhere, and my business travels with me wherever I go. And I just was really missing all the people that I know and love back there. And so I was like, oh, like I'm gonna go, like I can do that, like I can do
Yeah.
that. And so just sometimes I'm really struck by how often we just kind of need to give ourselves permission to do
Mm-hmm.
what we want to do, because we bind
Yes.
ourselves in with these things that don't even really matter and aren't really important. And, so being able to give ourselves permission to just do what feels right is a really powerful thing. Oh, I love it. Joyce is
Absolutely.
offering me a lovely empty guest room. So that's perfect. Those of us who are location independent, we love comfy guest rooms. You're awesome, Joyce. I'm going to land first with my friend Nilla, who you were talking to at Cocktails and Coaching last week. She's the runner she lives in Percy, so it's not that far from where you are, Joyce. So that's where I'm going to start. But anyway, enough about me. Let's get to you, Lauren, because I am so fascinated to hear more about your story and how self-sabotage fed into that, and so why and how you work with women. Do you work mostly with women or solely with women, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I talk to women, but I certainly am open to working with men, and I've coached many men and actually
Yeah,
lots of men.
yeah,
So, no, I'm not opposed to it, but like I just talk to one type of person, whoever resonates. It's like you're my
yeah,
person. Doesn't
yes,
matter your gender, as
yes.
long as you
Okay,
resonate
I'm
with
that way
me,
too.
I'm
Yeah.
totally great. So
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah, and
matter.
I
Yeah.
love coaching men. I mean, I think and we have some men in the Facebook group, and once in a while we've had some men come on to Cocktails and Coaching. But I just want people who resonate with, my message, and I don't really
Mm,
care what gender you are, so I'm with you on
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. So tell us about your story. Give us more
Yeah.
deets about yourself, and
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's just funny because it's like, of course, I ended up a self-sabotage coach because I self-sabotaged myself my whole damn life in
right.
all different ways. Like, of
Yeah.
course, I would end up here, right?
Yes.
Um, so, and I'm sure like you guys can probably laugh at that a little bit because you're
Right.
like, yep, that's me. And so long story short, I'll try to sum it up, but also give you all of the highlights. Is that
Yeah. Yeah.
my story goes back to my childhood, and like I was an emotional eater. Well, I grew up, not thinking that I was enough, right? Like, there's like
Okay.
that
Yes.
one moment
Just that
in
classic.
there's like
Yeah.
right, there's like that one moment sorry, my hair's like messed up. There's that one moment in your life where like something happens that you start questioning your worth and you're like how your body looks. And for me, and by the way, my parents are amazing, they're the best people, but like a comment that my mom made stuck with me, and it was when I was, I don't know, preteen. I was in my basement, I had a bathing suit on, it was like the middle of the summer, and my mom came down and she's like, Lauren, get up, you look like a beach whale. And it
Oh.
was in front of a bunch of my friends and my
Oh.
brother and sister and their friends. And the rest of the summer, whenever I put that bathing suit on, I like associated with like, something
Sure.
was wrong with me.
Sure.
And so around that time too, I also realized that I was kind of an emotional eater. I would I used to babysit, and my favorite thing about babysitting was they're like, oh, help yourself to the food, and I'll be like, perfect, like, like eat it all. And that's when I started like realizing like, ooh, like I like to eat. Is there something wrong with me? And then like as I kind of got older, did the whole diet thing, and in my 20s, like started working out, thinking that was like the solution, and like starving myself and doing the pills, and like just was caught in that like yo-yo routine my whole life. And I always just thought there was something wrong with me. Like I thought I was broken. Like I never had self-control. I thought I didn't have enough willpower, right? Like all of those things. I just thought I had to try harder.
Harder.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. I know. Same here.
Right. And it was just exhausted. And so like for my whole life, all the way up until like beginning of this year, I was just this yo-yo dieter, right? Like looking for the happiness. Then I had a spiritual awakening when I was in my early 30s, and I learned meditation. And I always called like Deepak Chopra like the entryway, like the gateway drug into spirituality. So like I found like somebody gave me his like meditation with Oprah, because I'm like, that's safe.
Yeah.
And then gave me like the seven spiritual laws of success by Deepak.
That's my favorite still, probably, of his books. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, there's something outside of me, because the whole time, my whole life, I was searching for something outside of me to make me feel better. I was thinking I'll be happy when I lose the weight, when I find the job, when I get the man, when like we think it's always something outside of you. And that when I was in my and I'm 38 now, just to give everybody reference.
Okay.
So in my early 30s, got into spirituality, and I was like, oh, there's something more into this. But I was still in my head. I was still binging. I was still like doing all the things. And then slowly getting into like personal growth, I started being like, okay, there's another way out here. Did a deep dive. I got into Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach School and was like, I need to get certified. Got certified, became one of her one of her top coaches. I worked for her for a while. Like I loved working for her. I loved the tools that she gave, and the tools that I learned as a life coach. And once again, I realized everything, like what I really took away from like being a coach and the tools, is that everything is neutral, but it's like our thoughts about it and our stories and the way that we see it that keeps us stuck, right? And that keeps us there. And so when I learned how to change my thoughts and learned how to change my feelings, which changed my actions and changed my results, I started creating a life that I really loved around me. I was like left my corporate job. Like first I climbed the corporate ladder, made six figures in my corporate job, got a director role. Then it was like, no, I want to inspire others, left that, so I just like saw the power of like what's outside of us through coaching and through the tools. Yeah. Then I got certified. And after I got certified, I'm like, who do I want to work with? And I was still in my own struggle with my body, but I was like, of course I want to do binge eating. Like, I remember when I was like in my 20s, being on my bathroom floor crying because I had just binged and I hated myself so much. And I was like, when I figure out how to stop this is what I want to help other people do.
Yes.
And I had learned the tools to understand the brain science around it through working with the Life Coach School, and had somewhat got my like eating around control. And so going into 2018, I used the coaching tools and lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
And then, and stopped binging.
Wow.
And then 2 months later, I started binging again.
Interesting.
Right.
And so hold on one second. I want to pause or interrupt you respectfully for 1 second. One, to say hi to Midge. Hey, Midge, happy to have you here with us again. And two, to say to anybody watching, now live or on the replay, and I don't know if I told you this, Lauren, but sometime probably tomorrow, it could be Friday because I have to travel tomorrow, I'll upload this to YouTube. And I'll send you the link. And that way, because, you can't share things inside our private Facebook group outside of the group. And so that way, if you want to share it, also to your audience and everything. So we always know there's people watching after the replay, as long as, during the replay or on YouTube, as well as live with us. But I want to say that if you're not a binge eater, so if there's any part of you that's like, oh, well, this isn't me because I'm not a binge eater, food isn't my issue. I just encourage you to think beyond that for a moment, because there is everything that Lauren is saying I mean, is so universal and applying to all. I've not been a binge eater myself, but I can relate to everything you're saying from that moment when you're in your childhood that you get that thought. Whether my memory is not as clear as yours, like, my mother said something or someone said something, but I just always had that. I'm not good enough. I got to try harder. I got to be better. Please people, da 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 da. And all these things that then we cycle into as adults, whether it's eating or drinking or shopping or like whatever the thing is, just frankly being mean to yourself, right? You could just be like, I'm really getting in touch with, I would have probably never said I had a mean girl. I mean, maybe I wouldn't have said I didn't, because everybody knows everybody's self-critical, at times, but like, that's not something I've really related to until recently. And all of a sudden I'm like, well, holy shit, that's my mean girl. And she's just beating me up over here. But I was so used to, we get so used to these things that even as a pretty awakened person, as I am, and pretty conscious and a coach and all these things, stuff sneaks up on you and you're like, oh shit, that's just that mean girl, so now it's time to take care of her. So I just always love how universal all this is. And so, your story can be with food, somebody else's story can be with something else. But in essence, it's the same story.
Absolutely. And like, 100% on all of that. And like, I used to only work with binge eating people, and now I work with everybody and every type of self-sabotage, because it's all the same.
All the same. Yes.
And also what would happen too, more importantly, and I'm going to finish my story because I want to tell you some keys, but also the other thing too is like, I worked with so many women, helping them stop binge eating, and we would stop binge eating, and then what was left was self-sabotage on other levels. It was never enough, which is like, oh no, this is not about the food anymore, right?
Right.
This is like way
because then
deeper
I just
than
take
that.
it to my job, or I take it to
right, and it's really numbing out. And so like, my clients, like the women that I work with or the men that I work with, they're the people that have like big dreams and big visions for their lives. Like, they're so clear on what they want to do, and they know that they're meant for more. But there's something, like a habit or something that keeps on coming up in their life that they're just like, why can I not get over this? And it's numbing. And here's like the categories this falls in. It comes in numbing out with food, numbing out with alcohol, numbing out with social media, numbing out with weed, numbing out with pill, whatever your thing is. Social media especially, right? We don't think about that.
Work, right?
Work,
numb out with work.
Numbing out with work. It also shows up in people pleasing, right?
Yes.
It shows up in perfectionism.
Yes.
It shows up in like that mean girl voice, and it shows up procrastination. And those are the areas that I focus on in my clients. And it's like, because once again, how you do one thing is really how you do everything.
Yes.
And especially my entrepreneur women who are like, know they have something so great inside of them, but when they sit down to go do it, there's so much resistance that comes up that they don't know how to handle their emotions to like move through it to stop self-sabotaging themselves.
Yes.
And so it's like these little things. And so to go back to my story, what I realized was, and by the way, like, I love being vulnerable as fuck. I don't know if I can swear, but just like,
you can swear. I say fuck a lot.
Sharing it all, because like, I'm a coach and I do this publicly, but also like, I'm still a student and I'm still learning and I'm evolving. And I think it's I think it's important for us coaches to be honest with people out there and be like, hey, we don't all have it figured out, but we're always a work in progress. And the favorite thing for me to do is what I challenge myself to do on a daily basis is live in breakthrough. Because the more breakthroughs that I have, the more breakthroughs my clients are going to have, right? So the more that I'm growing, the more that everybody that I'm coaching is coming with me, right? Because I'm continuing to break through that. And so what I realized when October, so exactly a year, like exactly a year ago this week, I went. And I was so broke a year ago, by the way. I was so broke, and I was going to go meet with my mentor that I had hired at that time. And to get to Dallas, I had to sell vintage fur coats to like get money for my Uber and my food while I was there, because that's how like little money. And I also chose to like pay for my plane ticket and my hotel over paying bills that month. So I like went into like this training to work with my mentor and like have her help me build this business, because I'm like, I'm going all in on my dreams. Like, I want to help others start binge eating. And here I show up investing all of my life savings in a coach, and I'm still binge eating, and I'm like, what is going on? Right? Because I had thought I had cured it. I thought I had
Yes.
figured it out. Like I
Yes.
used the coaching tools on the surface to like will myself there, right? To like
Yes.
to get there, but I had not done the inner work, and that was the biggest thing. So
Oh,
in that week,
such a big gap, right?
right? And
Yes.
in that week, I dedicated. I'm like, okay, Lauren, like you're all in. You're gonna commit to like help binge eaters. Just stop binge eating. That's your specialty. You're gonna be an expert in just that. And what I learned after doing it wrong, quote unquote, wrong the first time, and like going back, is that it's not deep enough just to understand the knowledge or to have some coaching tools are great. But the most important thing is that we're working on that subconscious level. And what
Yes.
self-sabotage is that, so we all have identities, right? Of like how we see ourselves. This is like a deep rooted thing. It's something over our lives that we have identified with. So to give a couple of examples for everyone to understand, somebody who only eats vegetables and it's very natural for them to only eat vegetables identifies as a vegetarian, right? If they were to go eat meat, it feels weird. They get sick, right? It's not who they are. Same with a smoker. Same with somebody who's a yo-yo dieter or a binge eater or emotional eater. Their identity and their set point of who they see themselves as somebody who's always struggled with food. They feel like they're broken. Same with an alcoholic. Same with whatever, however you identify. You can do it for people who identify as being a lazy, people who identify as being driven. It's just that this set point that you've seen your whole life. And the thing about the subconscious mind is that, or the way that we are as humans, is that 90% or 95, I don't know the statistic,
but yeah, there goes
most of right, exactly.
It's too. Yeah,
right. We're making decisions unconsciously about our brain and what our brain does. And I have to go into brain science in order to like really go here, because I think it's so key, because when I learned what was really going on in my brain, I was like, oh, wait, it's not me. It's not a lack of character. There's nothing wrong with me. I just didn't understand how my brain works. And when you can understand how your brain works, I give my clients the tools to outsmart that primitive brain so that then they can then make the decisions that are in alignment with that version they want to be. So really what I help people do is I help them bridge that gap from the person they are to the person that they want to be. And what is in between that gap and what is required to get there is you literally breaking the habit of how your brain sees yourself and rewiring it on the subconscious level. Because when you do, and so like, let's talk about dieting for a minute, right? Like how many people have tried losing weight and they've like gone on a diet and they do it for a short period of time, but they always go back to their old ways. And that's just because they're changing their actions, right? But they're not changing their set point of how they see themselves, and that's the self-sabotage. Same thing with procrastination, same thing with people pleasing. All of that stuff is, so what I do and what is so unique about my work and what makes me a self-sabotage expert is teaching my clients to really get out of their own way by rewiring their brain, changing their internal set point, changing their belief system, so then naturally as a effect of it, their actions change. And it's really about coming from this place of being at first, right? Like being like working from the end part, and really like what's in people's ways, or like and really like my brand is get out of your own fucking way, because we're just getting in our own way constantly by our limiting beliefs, by our story, by our identity, by our brain protecting us, always choosing comfort over discomfort. So when you just like know how to work with your brain, and you have like easy resources, and then you take those resources, and once again, this is the other thing that is wrong, not wrong, but where people go wrong with making change, is that they understand something conceptually, but understanding something conceptually and then having the knowledge and the wisdom and doing it is so different. And that's what I specialize in helping, bridging that gap where they fail a bunch of times as they're holding their hands, so that they're able to like get through that like hump of like being uncomfortable and like figuring out how to do it themselves, right? So it's about applying it and mastering it, and that's when the permanent change comes in.
Yes, I love that. It's that knowing and doing gap. It's the biggest gap in the whole wide world. And there's so, it's not hard in today's day and age, because there's even so many now, coaching programs and YouTube videos, and, I mean, Deepak Chopra is almost, old school now, whatever.
Absolutely,
there's so many people. When he came out, there weren't very many people in that arena talking like that. Now there's so many. it's not hard for us to have the knowledge about, kind of what to do or what would be a good way to, oh, or yeah, I'm self-sabotaging. I've got an inner critic that's running amok. I've
Yeah.
got whatever. Okay. So their awareness is great,
Mm-hmm.
but awareness doesn't get you to change. It only
No.
gets you to awareness, and
Right.
rarely does just being aware of something really create lasting change. Like one of the
Right.
things I talk about a lot on my website and my stuff, and even the name of this Facebook group, right, is sustainable transformation. Like that's kind of a phrase that I'm very passionate about because I'm not interested in like, can you lose 10 pounds for your class reunion?
Yeah. Oh, no, no,
Because
no.
that's not sustainable. That's
No.
not, so not can I go have a good day and keep my inner mean girl, at bay for a day or 2 days or whatever. Can I really create a sustainable transformation of something that has been holding me back, something that has been getting in my way? And you can't do that without really deep, like what you're talking about, this deep inner work into the unconscious, because
Yeah.
that's what drives all that stuff, is that
Yeah.
90% that we're not even aware. And it's the mere fact that it's unconscious means we don't know we're doing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it would be conscious to us, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the definition of it. So I love that, and this is why we connect so well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the work is different and similar. Whatever, we talk about it differently, but it's a similar kind of thing. And so one of the things that's really struck me, and I'm interested to hear what you think about this, and I'm interested for those of you watching, like, have you had a coach yourself or hired people, whatever? Like, weigh in on this, because what I'm realizing at an even deeper level, or I'm appreciating at a deeper level, is that the patterns that we have, like the older and more primitive they are, those things that came up in childhood and stuff. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
some things get triggered when you're an adult and you haven't been holding those quite as long. But especially for the really deep things, I don't think we can get out of them by ourselves. I think
Mm.
we have to hire a coach. We have to, or get a therapist or somebody. Because it's unconscious, we
Yeah.
need somebody outside of us who can see that, right?
Yeah.
Like we can see into that with other people, how they're self-sabotaging, or how
Yeah.
many times have we known that about our girlfriend or our spouse, or, somebody we're close to. You got to know a person pretty well. But
Yeah.
then you can say, I had a friend last night tell me about his boss who he's so pissed at because of this specific dynamic he mentions, and I won't repeat it, but it is exactly who this guy is. And he doesn't realize he's exactly the same way. He's just
Mm-hmm.
pissed at his boss who's being that way with him.
Yeah.
And, I don't believe in just, throwing stuff at people when they've not asked me to. And this was not in a coaching relationship or anything, So I kept my mouth shut, but I'm like, dude, like that's your mirror. Like life is
Yes.
delivering you what you need to see, but we can't see it. We need someone
Mm.
who can help us go into that and not just see it, and obviously figure out a way to navigate out of it. But I think it's also like having somebody to hold your hand when you walk into the shitstorm,
Yeah.
because it is a shitstorm in there, in that unconscious, and it's scary. And to
Yeah.
have somebody who will go in there with you,
Mm-hmm.
I think is really important to any kind of sustainable transformation. Tell me
Mm-hmm.
what you think about that, and happy to hear comments about that. If
Yeah.
you think, I'm just trying to build our businesses, or you've experienced the same kind of thing.
Yeah, so actually, so I agree with you on so many levels, but I also think that everybody's different, right? Everyone is,
Yes.
we have to think about what kind of results people want, right? Because there's some
Yes.
people in life that they are okay with status quo and they're okay with being comfortable and they're super happy and that's like their jam. And I'm like, read your
Yes.
books, read your Rachel Hollis, like go listen to your
Yeah.
podcast, like do your
Yes.
thing and be happy and and that works. That's great. I think who me and you are talking to are like, right? Like, are like
Right.
that person that is
Not
like,
that person. That's not enough. I have to figure
right?
it
That's
out.
like, that's right. That's like that, like, I need to do more with my life. I am meant, there's something in my soul that is like meant for more. And if I don't figure this shit out, I'm going to die like purposeless and like have to get out of my own way, right? So if you're that person, abso-fucking-lutely, okay? Like, and the reason,
you're
like,
right. That's such a great distinction because you're right. You're right. Some people just don't care that much and they're
right,
happy
and
where
that,
they are.
exactly,
And
and I'm
that's
like,
fine.
awesome, and it's like, follow me and I'll motivate you here and there, and like I'll give you what you need. But for those that are like done with wasting their time, like ready for drastic transformation, because you can't do what you're doing right now and expect different results. And like the thing with beliefs and the thing with the subconscious stuff is that it's like a fish in water, right? Like a fish doesn't know it's in water because it's like in it.
That's just
yeah, and it's like this thing, and that's the same with our beliefs and our stories. We're like, all like, I love like, so for instance, I also help like some of my favorite coaching to do with sales, and like I love sales, and people have all these stories about like the lack of money and that people won't pay for coaching and all this, and I'm just like sit there and I like look at them, I'm like, oh that's funny that you think that, because I think complete opposite, and it's just that story that's holding you back, right? Same with the story of like I've tried to lose weight so many times that I can't do it, right? Like that's just a story. So it's like ultimately like our beliefs is like what determines what we can do in our lives. But like for me and the work that I do and that I'm so passionate about is really getting in there, right? Like willing to like
really
break
going
yourself
deep.
really wanting to go deep, breaking open, building it back up and owning it. And on the other side of this is just like this part of like this like version of you, right? Because it's just like, you're great, you're whole, you're amazing exactly as you are. We're just kind of like removing some of the blocks, changing some of the stories, and like letting that amazingness out so that you can own it. And ultimately what I teach people to do is I teach them emotional resiliency. Because so ultimately powerful. We're just like always chasing our feelings. We're either avoiding feelings or we are seeking feelings, right? Seeking pleasure or avoiding pleasure. And so when you can show up in the world and not be afraid to feel any feeling, not afraid to be not afraid to feel shame, not afraid to be embarrassed, not afraid to fail, not afraid to be rejected, not afraid and do that. And you're just so whole and you can feel all of those. You become unstoppable because you just keep on showing up, because you're not worried about what other people are thinking about you. You're not worried. You don't have to slow down because you're not worried about your feelings, because you're so emotionally strong that anybody can have their opinions. And not all of my friends support me what I'm doing. I mean, most of them do. And like, I've had even my family that just like thinks I'm a little crazy and have huge dreams. And I'm just like, oh, just watch me. Just watch me. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the gift I give the people that I work with, is just like an amazing set of skills and a set of tools that they become master, which then gives them the ability to continue on this journey of creating intentional results. And it's like, and it is law of attraction, but it's like the science behind it, and it all comes together with the feeling, because the feeling is what manifests everything. And if you're avoiding your whole life, self-sabotaging yourself to avoid feelings, you're going to stay stuck your whole life.
Yes. I'm so with you on the feeling thing, because I think, I mean, yes, we all do everything we do because
we're like, no, you're frozen.
Oh, really?
Are we still frozen?
Oh no. Did we unfreeze, Joyce? I didn't. I had no freezing. So maybe you froze, Joyce. Are we back for you?
I hope so. We're having an amazing conversation. Yes, like this needs to be heard.
But I'm so into the feelings thing. In fact, yesterday I taught I have a membership group, and so we did a strategy session yesterday, and this came up there, and it's actually part of what I'm going to teach tonight in this mastermind I'm a guest speaker at, is this idea of going, first of all, our feelings drive everything, right? So they really do. I mean, our thoughts derail us in a really super way, okay? Yeah. But our thoughts and our feelings are never far from each other, right? One is just, right on the tail end of the other, whichever comes first.
Sorry, I have to stop. But what I teach and what I believe is that actually our thoughts create our feelings.
Yeah.
So it's like always the thought that is, there's a slight delay. What does somebody say?
Okay.
But I'm listening and you're coming through loud and clear. Awesome.
Oh,
Thank you, Jenna.
good. Okay,
So
thank you.
it's so important because it's like they're directly connected.
Yes.
And so when you can understand that your thoughts are always creating your feelings, if you feel like shit, you just need, if you think about it, you just need to change your thoughts, and then you can change your feelings. And that's like the most empowering thing ever, right?
Yes.
Because we're not taught about that. Like no one teaches us in school, like
nobody
this
does.
is a feeling. And then I'm so sorry, I'm so passionate about this. And then
no.
we're like,
don't be sorry.
And then we don't even know how to, like, when a feeling comes that's negative, we resist it, and there's like all this fighting, and it persists and it keeps longer, you know. Whereas like when you can understand how to process emotion, it actually is not that big of a deal, and it moves through, and it's like in the resistance with what we do, and so we're afraid of our feelings. Yeah. And then our whole lives we're just avoiding it, and then we're projecting onto everybody else because we are just basically projecting all of our biggest fear of rejection onto everybody else around us.
Everybody else. Yes, so true, which is unfortunately what my friend was doing. But to your point, I'm totally with you. I mean, that's why I didn't say anything to him, because I don't feel like I'm here to disrupt a person's happy place, or, you know, they're growing at their own place. I'm here for people like you who want to do, you know, they want to dive deep. They want to, you know, figure it out and not be stuck. And I think the really awesome thing with feelings, you know, if we think about the things that we want, you know, in our lives, and then it's pretty easy usually to come up with how would I feel, because that's really why we want them. We want them because we think, I don't care if it's a car or a lover or to go save the world from world hunger, like, you know, no matter what it is.
Or a size 2 or a size 6 body, or like whatever.
Whatever it is, we want that because of how we imagine it will feel, which is why sometimes we get stuff and we're disappointed because it didn't actually end up feeling that way, and we realize it wasn't the thing. But that's another story altogether. But if we imagine what we want to feel, and so you think, oh, well, I would feel empowered, I would feel freedom, I would feel gratitude, you know, like all these things that classically come up when we want, you know, when we're thinking about something we want. Then the other fun thing I like to do is say, okay, so now when you're feeling that way, what are you thinking? What's the thought, you know, and not just in good times. When you have a challenge, you know, I have my successful $1 million business, whatever, I'm traveling the world, I'm, you know, whatever the thing is, and I'm feeling so empowered and so free. What are my thoughts? And when my luggage gets lost and my plane's delayed and my business has a bad month, but I'm feeling empowered and grateful and free. What are the thoughts that I'm bringing to that quote unquote challenge, or that initiation, or that, you know, whatever word you want to use to it? Because life never stops throwing shit at us, right?
Right.
It's just a matter of how do we decide to handle that, to manage that, to come at that, whatever, in a conscious way, so that we don't get sucked into those old patterns.
Yes. And that's everything. And that really is everything, going back to self-sabotage. This is like a whole conversation here, right? Is that we, as human beings, like the thing that's driving us to self-sabotage is that like subconscious mind, and avoiding the discomfort that would happen if you like, so it, like, for instance, let's say like you told yourself that you aren't going to eat chocolate today, and you see a piece of chocolate and you're like, no, you can't have it. Delaying the gratification, right? Like the delaying that pleasure feels crappy in the moment, but down the road it feels better. And that's like ultimately the art that I help with my clients is like, how do you delay gratification for a much larger result later down, right? And that's just really what we have to teach our brains, is because if not, we're always going for that quick hit of dopamine, right? We're just going for the social media. We're going for the, right? We're trying to like procrastinate, checking Facebook. We're going for the drink after work because it's like, I just need to relax, right? But really what causes you to feel relaxed is a thought, not something outside of you, not the food, not the, right? So it's like, that's why you self-sabotage, is because you don't understand the emotional management of creating that everything inside of you. So we end up walking around being like, having everything we possibly need within our beings. You just need to understand how to tap into it, right? Of like with different tools, so that you can just get out of your own way. So
it's so totally true. I have really learned, I mean, I've done a real deep dive in the last year and a half or so on this, again, going from the intellectual knowing to the really doing, living, way of that. It's not, my external circumstances really aren't, one, they aren't who I am, and that's hard. That's a big leap, because we're really taught to identify ourselves as, what we do, how much money we have, what we drive, where we live, what we, whatever, all this, the roles we play, whatever. So breaking out of identity and breaking out of circumstance and saying, I don't care if 100 pounds of shit is coming my way. It doesn't have to define me, and it doesn't have to, I have to deal with it on some level, right? And, it's not about denial or, being in la la land, but who if I'm not identified as that, and I know that my inner world is far more powerful than my external world, then how I show up in that shitstorm is completely different than when I'm feeling like the shitstorm is in charge of me, that the outside is more powerful than the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. That it's happening to you, right?
Yeah,
like,
that it's
this is happening to me, and that like you're out of control, and that you're not able to. That you're not able to do that. And that's really like what I see with my clients, right? Is that they they have all of this past evidence, and like the way, once again, the way that our brain works is from the past stories and the past what we know. So we're always projecting that onto the future. And so we always fear or subconsciously project the past onto the future. So that's why it's so hard for people to get unstuck and to get out of these self-sabotaging behaviors, because your story for so many years and maybe even decades of the same self-sabotage. And then you're like, can I even do this? Am I not? And then you even create an identity. And a lot of my clients, when they come to me, they think they're like lazy, or they think they're weak, or they think that there's something, or that like, right? And I'm like, no, like that's just something that you self-identified with. And then that story is the thing that's keeping them stuck. And it's just a self-limited story that's created by themselves and not the actual things outside of them. And that's really this powerful thing that some of the exercises and some of the tools that I use with my clients is teaching them how to have a relationship with their future self, right? Because you're making deposits right now into the bank account of your future self, and that's really how it works. And if you can, like, in what I've done in like my past like couple years of my life, is that like I spent every day like connecting and centering to like the results I already have. So like even when like last year when I was like broke as fuck and like eating pasta and like and by the way, and I used to, like, when I had a corporate job, I made 6 figures, so I was used to like having a lot of money, but when I decided to work for myself, it's like I had to figure it out, and everything changed. That I still had to wake up and believe that this was going to happen, that I was going to be here where I'm at right now, and I even have a bigger dream. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for us human, especially like my people and probably your people who are high successful people, is that when your dream is bigger than your current reality, you're always going to feel inadequate. And you have to be able to use your mind and learn how to live in this space and like examine those feelings and figure out where they're coming from. Instead of hiding from that, you're like, oh, I wonder why I feel inadequate, right? Like, oh, I wonder why this is coming up, because there's just a story under there that needs to be addressed. So that you can. And I think that like in society, and I think nowadays, and there's all this like, oh, just high vibes or just like positive think and stuff like that. And that's not it. And like where I got all of my success and where all of my breakthroughs came is when I looked at the dirt, like that nasty shit underneath all of those beliefs that I didn't really want to believe. And I had to admit to myself that like, hey, maybe I don't really believe this. And then I have to go and ask why. And then I have to detach all the stories that are along with that. And that's how you get out of your way. That's how you self-sabotage, is you look at the stories holding you back, and you look at the resistance, and it's not all positive vibes, and it's not all positive emotions, but it's like understanding and then using those and then uncovering them, that brings you relief, and then you can move forward. I'm so with you. Like one of the things I start with a lot of people on it, what are they really wanting? What are they desiring? What are they yearning for? And if it doesn't, either scare the hell out of you or trigger some sort of who do I think I am, you're probably not thinking big enough, because that's just, instead of seeing those things as the sign that it's true,
Yeah, who do I think I am? I'm too big for my britches. I shouldn't be thinking that. To me, it's the total opposite. It's
Yeah.
like, turn that the fuck around. And it's just that part of you, the old part that wants to be afraid of what you're really capable of. And
Yeah.
this means you are absolutely on the right track, And
Yes.
now let's figure out how to, quiet that and get rid of that so that it doesn't hold you back.
Right.
But I think that whenever it always happens when we push the envelope. Even,
Yeah.
as I push my next envelope and you push your next envelope, I mean, we're still human. So shit is there. And life is about, deciding whether or not I'm going to dig a little deeper and disempower that shit so I can keep going bigger,
Yeah.
and
And
then
I
go
think,
bigger again.
yeah, and the game of playing, let's talk about the game of playing bigger, right? Because that's like
Yeah.
what I'm all about. Because like, and I had to go through that. Like one of my beliefs that I uncovered last year that I had to work through is that like I'm too big. Like I always was like,
Yeah.
my mom was like, "Oh, you're too quiet," or "You're too," you know what I mean? Sorry, you're too loud. Like quiet down, or like, "Who do
Yes.
you think
Yeah.
you are? You're too loud." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Who am I to do this?" Or like, "I'm
Yes.
too much." And like, I
Yes.
was always, I had this energy where I felt like I was too much for people.
Yes.
But like me being too much is just enough for me to do this kind of work so that I can
Yes.
get out there and be loud
Me
and be like,
too.
"Listen,"
Yeah.
like you need
Yeah.
to get out of your way. Where
Yeah.
like now I realize that me thinking that I was too much was like really because this was the work that I was meant to do and like
Yeah.
really put myself out there.
It's how those things that seemed against us, in the beginning of life end up being the very part of our genius that we
Yeah.
need to, really embrace and really live through instead of trying to, dummy it down or temper it. Well, I have just a couple closing questions because I
Yeah.
have to get to my mastermind, so I can't
Yes,
risk
and I have a
running
coaching
over.
call right after
Okay.
this too, so I
Yes.
have to
So
get
we
off like
all
a
have
minute
things to
early.
do, but so I would like to ask you because, my tagline is living lavishly, and of course that is not. I mean, I love lovely material things, so it's not that it can't be about material things, but of course it's much bigger than that into the kinds of things like we're talking about tonight. So, what to you does it mean to live lavishly?
Yeah, I mean, it's a to me it's a mindset, right? Because it's like a
Mm,
feeling of like how you like you decide that you want to feel. It's like a way, but I think too it's treating yourself right. It is a combination of like in let me like the right way. So like to me, like lavish is like it's like that like extra, right? It's like that like it's that little extra bit, and I
yes.
think to me like it's also like a state of mind of like freedom, right? Because like the more
Yes.
freedom that you have, like the more like lavishly you can have, and like living without limits a little bit too
Yes.
is like really like what I think about it. But
Yeah.
to me, and like I've just like experienced now with like the success of my business and really like having more disposable money, and I didn't share with you, but like I'm like you where I did a lot of traveling this year and like I'm independently, so I like spent time in Colorado. Like to me that's lavish to be able to like get up
Yes.
and like live
Yes.
wherever the hell I want, like go
Yes.
over. I traveled 8 weeks this year, like you
Yes.
know what I mean.
Yes.
And to me that was like
Yes.
this is the life that I've always want, and to me this is living lavishly because it's not, to me it's not about material things, but it's
Yes.
also nice to know that I can go into a store and like buy things if
But
I want, right? And
absolutely.
like to
Yeah.
me also like living lavishly is like I had like forever my whole life I had a dream of having like a BMW convertible and like driving down the 101 and like living by
Uh-huh.
there, and like now
Uh-huh.
I do have a BMW
Yay.
convertible, and like I love to drive down like the ocean and like
Yes.
go to Disneyland, and if Jenna's still on here, like
Yes.
treat her to Disneyland too. Like
Uh-huh.
that to me is fun. I like living lavishly is when you can
Yes.
like you live so fully that it like it pours over, and you can also give to others, and that's like
Yes.
really like my when I think about like how much success I want to have and like the amount of impact that I want to have and the amount of money I want to make, like
Yes.
I get excited about the money I want to make so that I can spoil other people.
Yes, totally, totally, totally. I think living lavishly is so much about generosity. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah. And always, whether it's financial generosity or emotional and spiritual, you have to give from an overflow, right? We
Yeah.
can't give when we're depleted.
Yeah.
And so that goes to the heart of everything both of us do. All right, so you get one chance to leave everybody with one thing. And of course, if you got the emails, you have some connections to Lauren, but also Lauren, even if it's after we hang up here, go into this chat feed,
Mm-hmm.
the comment feed, and put a link to, your website, your Facebook page, whatever, you
Yeah.
want, so people can find you easily. But what would you like to leave everybody with tonight? Just one final, thought.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. Man, like so much.
I
I'm
know,
a
like
woman
I
of
don't
many
prep my
words.
people for these questions, so nobody knows what's coming. And I don't always ask the same questions. So even if
Yeah.
you've watched Cocktails and Coaching, you never know what I'm going to say.
Okay, so you are only limited by yourself. Like
Mm,
you're your only constraints or your only like lack is self-created in your mind, and you're the only
mm-hmm,
one that's getting in your own way.
mm-hmm.
And when you can understand how to like work with your brain instead of getting in your own way, like anything is possible out there. And
Yeah.
yeah, and like in everything is just a thought problem, everything is
Yeah.
just an identity problem, right? So like there
Yes.
really is no problems, it's just the way you're looking at it.
Yes.
And also like that's one. And the other piece, and we didn't talk about this, but I'm
Oh,
super passionate about this topic,
okay.
is learn how to get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Like
Yes.
get
Yes.
comfortable with
With
being
being
uncomfortable,
uncomfortable.
because what I've learned about this work is like when you invest, like as you and me, we're lifers in this,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like we're
Lifers.
and like a
Yes.
lot of my clients are where they're just they want to continue
Yes.
to grow, they want to continue to do that. And like when you get into this work, the thing that changes is that it never stops, right? There's
Yes.
always just different levels of where you're
Yes.
at. But the
Yes.
coolest thing ever is that you just get stronger and you
Yes.
just get more badass and you just get better
Yes.
at dealing with it, that it
Yes.
becomes no big deal. And so
Yes.
like to me, like the biggest thing that was, and I call it my special sauce in my program, is like teaching my clients how to be uncomfortable, because when they're
Yes.
able to be uncomfortable, they can feel any feelings, and they're never going to be afraid of anything. So to
Yeah.
me, like that's the secret sauce
That's
there.
so perfect, and the perfect way to end our time together. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, for your passion, for everything that you're doing in the world. We are kind of like the same person. So I know
Yes.
that's why I love you.
I
But
know, and
I'm
we'll have
just
to
so
get together
excited.
in person another
I
time.
know. I
I love like
know.
your energy and all
Oh,
that. So
me
we'll have
too,
to stay
you.
in touch. And
And
I
thank you to
really
all
appreciate you
who were
having me
live
on.
with us tonight. And everybody, yeah, feel those feelings. That's right, Jenna.
Ah,
Um,
Jenna.
and everybody who watches on the replay or on YouTube, thank you, thank you. So much love to everyone. And let's
By the
live
way,
lavishly. Yeah.
it's 555, which is an angel number for those that are into that. It's 555 right now
Oh,
in
right now?
California.
Ooh,
Right
ooh, I
now, it's
love that. Okay,
555. So
here's the
we're
magic.
ending at 555.
Ending the magic. All right. Love you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.